of Saints Coaches Corner. My name is Aaron Todd. I'm joined today by Kate Howard, head women's cross country and track and field coach. Kate, thanks for joining us today. Obviously, I know this is an interesting year. I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about the mood of your cross country, and if you've been in touch with your track and field athletes as well, tell me a little bit about how your athletes are feeling being back on campus, still unfortunately unable to practice, but hopefully connecting with each other.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Aaron. This is great to have a chance to speak with you. We're underway with the semester, and we're excited to have our team members back on campus. We've been in touch, of course, all through the spring and the summer, and being able to Zoom and FaceTime and be in touch with our student athletes. And they worked hard all summer, and despite getting announcements throughout the summer about reductions in our season and competitions, we have a group that's motivated and showed up on campus, excited to train and ready to work together in whatever form that may take for both cross country and track and field. We have a limited track and field roster back on campus right now due to the semester structure, but all of our cross country athletes are on campus right now.
How can you talk a little bit about the 3-semester structure? Obviously, you're a program, certainly your cross-country runners compete really from September right on through, in some cases, right through the end of May. So how did you navigate that with your student athletes, and what did you advise them to do when it came to trying to, select the semesters between the fall, winter, and the fall, winter, and the summer semesters?
Sure. Of course, the majority of our student athletes, they wanted to be on campus in the fall and the spring. They didn't want to miss the fall season, whether it be cross country or whether it be the start of the track and field season, and certainly didn't want to miss the spring being indoor and outdoor. Some of them were lucky enough to be given fall and spring, and a good portion were given fall and summer. So we'll have to do some creative work in our management of our roster, and just training for those who are going to be off campus in the spring semester, which will be the indoor and outdoor season.
Obviously, the cross-country team has a tradition of visiting Canaris as part of a preseason trip. Unfortunately, due to the resocialization protocols and everything we had to do to get students tested back here on campus, that trip went by the wayside. As an alum of the program, I know how important that trip is in terms of getting the freshmen integrated, the first years integrated as part of the program. Can you talk about the ways that you as a coach and also your upperclassmen have found ways to integrate your first years into your program without that opportunity to gather as a team and have that bonding experience?
Sure. Canaris is something that is one of the most important times in our season, and it's something that our team members look forward to every year. We were excited last year. We got a little bit longer stretch at Camp Canaris for training and for some team bonding time. So to not be able to go to Canaris this year was certainly, we were certainly sad about that. Our returning team members did have a great outlook on that, and they said, we know we can't get to go to Canaris this year, but we did get to go for a little bit longer time last year. So, we have to look back on a really positive thing that happened last year. And for our first years, our returning team members know that that's such an important time to get them integrated into our team and get them to meet some people on campus and before they get started, so they have those familiar faces and they create those bonds. So our returning team members have been doing a really great job of connecting with our first years, getting to know them, whether it be virtually. They did a lot of that throughout the summer, whether it be on their Zoom or FaceTime or group chats. And then as they have arrived on campus, keeping those groups small and socially distanced, but also getting to know one another. So they have those teammates from day one when they step on campus.
As you mentioned earlier, there were, kind of drips and drabs of news in terms of how the season would go. The season was shrinking, and now, NCAA has announced that there will be no fall championship. Can you talk about, obviously that's a goal for your program every year to make it to NCAAs. What are your goals this season without really, a competitive, without competitive opportunities, without an opportunity to qualify for the NCAA championships? What are your hopes for the team, and what are you going to try to accomplish?
Sure, that's a great question, and things are going to look a lot different. And when we went into the summer and we started to get some of this news of what things might look like, the first thing I said to the team is, we're going to be flexible and we're going to be positive. Whatever changes come our way, we're going to be flexible and we're going to adapt, and we're going to find the positives in what we do get to do. Our sport being cross-country running, and we're outside, and we're considered one of the lower risk activities. We're still able to do our sport, and it won't be at the competitive level that it normally is, and it won't be in the same form that it normally is, but the fact of the matter is we get to do our sport. So there's a really positive takeaway in that, and being flexible as changes come our way, whether it be through competition or structure of our practices, and looking for the positives there of what we do get to do. A little bit of a reset, of course, not having that goal of the NCAA championships, but we have a group that's really motivated. They love the sport, and we're committed to having a lot of fun this season. Maybe getting to do some things that we don't normally do, getting to change up some of our workouts and keep things fun and interesting, and just being flexible, which I think the team knows that my favorite word is consistency. So to have things be consistent and also be flexible, those are two things that you might think might not go hand in hand, but I think we're going to have a lot of great training this season. We're going to stay positive, and we're going to be flexible for those changes that have come our way and those things that may be still to come that we might not see around the corner.
One of the great advantages of St. Lawrence Cross Country is you have, right in our backyard, the Ronald T. Hoffman Cross Country course. I'm sure that's something you're going to be making use of. A course that's hosted multiple NCAA regional championships, hosts, your home meet every year. So, while we're probably not going to be inviting hordes of other teams to compete there, is there a thought that maybe you might do some time trials on the course just to give kids a chance to measure up to see where they are?
Sure. As I mentioned, we get to do our sport. It's going to be in a little different format, but we're still going to have those benchmarks and those training opportunities to see where we are and evaluate our progress. And we're so fortunate, as you mentioned, the Ronald T. Hoffman Cross Country course that's right out back of our athletic facilities. We have beautiful trails to train on. Of course, we have the KIPS Saddlemeyer Trail, 4.5, 5 miles of trail running, all on university-owned property. We have the golf course and lots of different places to train on campus. So we're really fortunate in that regard that we have a lot of beautiful places to train, a lot of ways to test our fitness and see where we are. So we get to do our sport, and I know I keep coming back to that point, but we are very fortunate in that regard. And I imagine we'll be doing a little bit of time trialing on the Hoffman, whether it be a 5K or a full 6K, just to see how our training is progressing throughout the season.
I know you haven't been able to officially start practice yet, but I have seen some of your runners out on the roads and on the trails locally. I've seen them wearing their masks on the runs. I know that's not an ideal situation when you're a runner. You don't really want something impeding your breath, but
Sure.
I was impressed to see them out and, kind of upholding the guidelines that we set in the Laurentian Pact. Can you talk about some of the precautions that your runners are going to be taking this year, in consultation with our head athletic trainer and assistant AD, Brian Atkins, and what are the things that you're going to be doing as a team to make sure that we stop the spread here on campus?
Sure. Staying healthy and keeping campus healthy and keeping our community healthy is the most important thing. We are fortunate that we get to do our sport, and we get to do our sport in small groups. We were able to remain socially distanced with all of those places we have to train, as I mentioned. Our team members have been really great, as I said, getting to know our first years, bringing them into the fold and bringing them into the mix, showing them some of the different places to train, whether it be in the village or around town, but keeping those running groups small. We're used to heading off on a run in a group of 15, 16, 20. We won't be seeing that this season. We're going to be in much smaller groups, pairs, maybe groups of 3, but we won't be running in those large groups. But as I mentioned, lots of different places to train, so we're able to split up and keep socially distanced. Also committing to those family units and extended family units that they have from their dorms and living on campus. So when we're doing workouts, we're keeping those family units together. I know many of our sophomores live in one unit together, so that makes things a little easier for constructing that workout group. Some of our first years are rooming together, or they're on the same hall, so that creates workout groups right there. We have some seniors that live in a townhouse together, so we are minding those family units and those extended family units, creating training groups and kind of doing wave starts if we're all going in the same direction, so we're not a big group running through town or running through campus. And then the masks are something that, you know, living in Canton, New York in the wintertime, we're used to running with a buff or a mask on. So that's not something that's totally foreign to us, luckily. It's something that's on occasionally those cold days, you do need to wear a face covering in the winter. So that's something that we have a little practice with. So the team's been really great about keeping those face coverings, having those readily available. If they're running by themselves and they're going to pass somebody, they'll put their face covering on and be sure to keep that safe social distance. So we're really committed first and foremost to keeping everyone healthy, our team members, campus, and community. So being flexible and doing what we can to do our part to, you know, to follow all of the protocol and of course follow the Laurentian Pact.
Well, Kate, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us today. Looking forward to seeing your team out on the trails on campus and in town, you know, continuing to stay fit and taking advantage of the opportunities and being flexible as the season goes forward. We'll miss seeing you on race day, but we're excited to see everything that your team does on campus this year.
Appreciate it, Aaron. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Saints Coaches Corner. And join us again next week when we'll have another coach here on Facebook, Twitter, and on saintsathletics.com.